We live. Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing? Thank you so much for tuning in. I really, really do appreciate you all. Thank you guys so much again for coming back to always watch my video. Your support means a lot. Without you guys, I do not even know where the channel will be. But you've made everything possible, and you are the reason I keep coming back in front of my screen to continue uploading video on YouTube and continue to become more creative in bringing topics that are more important that I believe that we should be having, we should be discussing in this platform. Please, if you join the chat, as soon as you join the chat, make sure to hit the like button to battle the YouTube algorithm, and also subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And yes, thank you guys again for being here. You're much, much more appreciated. If you can just let me know in the comment section where you're watching from, that will be also a plus, and I will really, really appreciate it. So without further ado, you guys are probably tuned in because you find the topic that I have highlighted to be important, and I consider this matter, of high importance, and therefore I made the decision to discuss this particular topic. You guys know, I'm base my videos off of investments in the country, and there are a lot of factors that goes into it. So we cannot always continue to have discussions about investing in the country, trying to convince as many Congolese entrepreneurs as possible to go back home to invest, to trust the country, to trust the climate, and actually also bring something of high value within the Congolese community. Um, and outside of that, there is also a culture that must be respected. There is also a level of trust that must be built. We have to bridge the gap between Congolese that living in the Congo and the Congolese in the diaspora. So someone like me who's who's born, grew up in the Congo, but then in one point of life I moved to the West. So I kind of have the feeling of both worlds. So I know the reality in Kinshasa, and at the same time I know the reality of the West. So combining both, I have certain American values that I find some of them ridiculous. Some of them I do respect because it's their culture, and at the same time, I abide by most our cultural rules, and became more accustomed and acclimated of our beautiful culture, and I love it so much. But it is unfortunate sometimes some of our brothers and sisters, especially here in the diaspora, who are still under the colonial brainwashed, all right, they're still allowing themselves to continue to be ignorant on certain issues. And I find that to be disturbing because if we all are fighting for the same cause, so we should understand the way most white nations function, okay? But these particular topic is not whatsoever going to be talking about any world power or anything like that. But I want to focus on certain behavior that I've seen among the Congolese, especially here in the West, the way we think, our thought process, and how it impacts our daily life. And I think this is very, very important. I have a serious issue with a lot of Congolese living in the West, the way they raise their kids here. Um, I personally have people that I know and I frequent who have kids here. Some of them have brought their kids from Congo, and they live here, whether in America or in Europe and so forth. One thing that I really find so disturbing, it was one time I went over a friend's house, so we're having a good time. I believe it must have been a party or something. And their daughter must have said something in Lingala, right? They said something in Lingala. Uh, of course, she gets pissed off. She gets mad. She, she was this close to whooping her daughter's butt, right? because she was speaking in Lingala. And out of curiosity, I've asked her, so why is this so wrong that the child is trying to learn her parents' native language? She's like, no, the only language you should be speaking is either English or French. And I'm like, whoa, wait a second. So you mean to tell me because your child live here in America, you can only tolerate when she speaks foreign languages, and you almost this close to whooping her butt because for speaking Lingala? Like, are you serious? She's like, well, she had a little bit of an argument there. She tried to make a point as to why Lingala is not beneficial to her or her daughter, because she says if she grows up and whether she goes to school here or if she decides in the future she wants to go back to the country to work for an international organization or even to work for the Congolese government, Lingala is not going to help her. I said, well, Lingala is not going to help her because, yeah, I understand like French is like the official language, like in that's the language of business as well, but not knowing Lingala is not going to help her either. How can you live in a country where the language is spoken you don't understand and you can barely speak the language? Because you have to keep in mind, you have to understand, no matter your ability to speak a foreign language or how good you are in English or French, your native language should always be of high priority. Because when I'm in Congo, I communicate in Lingala, I'd say probably 99% of the time. I don't really want to waste my time in learning all these other languages. Like personally, when I first moved to the US, I only spoke French because it was the requirements. It was a language that it's an educational language. So no matter what, I had to speak French when I was in school. So every single time I walked out the school door, I threw French under the rug. I spoke Lingala straight up because I love my native language. I love my culture, and I love everything about Lingala. But I found it so disturbing how a Congolese woman who will be okay her kids learning a colonial language versus helping her to strengthen her ability to learn their mother's native language. It should be a pride teaching your kids how to speak your native language. But at this point, I didn't understand what my friends was really thinking about. Like, I can't really get my head wrapped around it. My kids, the only language possible that I would speak to them at home is Lingala, because growing in the West, no matter what, they will always learn how to speak English because they go to school, they speak English here, all of that other stuff. So them knowing how to speak Lingala, it will benefit me even more because I have family members that are still in Africa. My mom is still there. I have siblings there, nephew, uncles, and like you name it. But if they move here, I want my kids to be able to communicate with them somehow because they can't speak English. But the efforts that I can do is helping them learn how to speak my native language so they have some sort of communication when it comes down to it. But I find it so disappointing that a Congolese woman who gets mad because her daughter was trying to was trying to speak Lingala. I'm like, in which world you live in? After all the oppression that we go through living in the West, after all the injustices that we endure throughout the history, after everything that black people go through even today, you're still okay your kids learning the language. If it would have been English, probably I would not sympathize. I would not sympathize with her anyway, but I would have understood maybe a little bit of it. But we're not even in France, for God's sake, not even in Belgium. But she was pissed off, due to the fact that her daughter was speaking Lingala, but she wanted her to learn how to speak French. So according to her, her daughter living in America, she should at least learn how to speak French but ditch Lingala. So can you find out really how I don't know. I can't seem to understand this. I mean, if you probably, I could be wrong, but let me know in the comment section what you think about this. I mean, if you probably share the same uh idea, let me know in the comment section down below, because I'm very curious to learn what you guys think. But to me, it's unacceptable to begin with, and it is demeaning to our beautiful native language. I only speak Lingala out of the four national languages that we have. I understand Kikongo, but I don't speak Kikongo fluently. I do not understand Chiluba, nor do I understand Swahili. But guess what? Those three languages are on my bucket list. Whatever I am preparing for to return back into my beautiful country, which is the Democratic Republic of Congo, what I will basically do is to make sure I learn how to speak Kikongo, because that's where my parents are from. So like my parents being from Congo Central, I feel like I am obligated to learn how to speak Kikongo, right? Because I want to be able to communicate throughout the whole uh, Congo, because Congo is massive. There are certain part of the Congo where Chiluba is predominantly spoken. There is certain part of the Congo where Swahili is predominantly spoken, and there is like a variety of regions where Lingala is massively spoken. So is Kikongo. So having the ability to speak the four languages, it gives me a lot more freedom to move freely in my country. Not that if I don't speak any of the language, I will not be able to freely, move around my own country. But having that skills, it's also a plus. You might find yourself in an area where people do not speak Lingala. So me being born and grew up in Kinshasa, I only speak Lingala. So let's just say that I go to Lubumbashi, and I find myself in a small town where most people in there only speak Swahili. There will not be any other means of communication. Of course, French is the official language. I can always communicate through French, but if I can find another language other than French to communicate with my own fellow with, I would do it. I would never prioritize a foreign language over my own native language. That's just absurd. I don't know why people in this world they think it makes them look cool to be able to speak French. Listen, I don't give a crap how much French you can speak. I don't give a crap how much English you can speak. As long as you don't respect your own culture, that doesn't mean nothing. I don't care if you say my English is broken or my French is broken. I don't give a damn about none of that. All I care about is to see my people from the Congo moving forward. I want to see my people from the Congo being successful at everything they do in their life. But I find it so disturbing that a Congolese would actually get mad, even on the verge of whooping their own child butt, because because they were speaking their own native language in front of them. To me, it would be a bliss. I would my face will be filled with joy seeing my kids speaking my native language. But I do not understand why a Congolese would be mad because their own child was trying to speak their native language. I'm like, dude, are you serious? In China, they teach the kids in Mandarin, in Chinese, because that's the language that they understand better, right? In French, they speak French. They go to school speaking French. They teach their kids how to speak French because that's their language. In America, they speak English. They teach everything in English. That's why there is even an easy way to understand most things, because when it is spoken in your native language. But we have to convert the way we think in Lingala into another foreign language and understand it better. I promise you, a lot of these kids in high school that are not able to solve some mathematic problems, it's not because they're not smart. Some of them probably do not understand the language fully. That's why they're getting so confused. I promise you, if we had the chemistry table translated in Lingala, a lot of people will understand all of these units. A lot of people will understand what every single one of these units on the board is. Like if you ask me some of these chemistry units that I learned in high school, I will probably understand the concepts of it in French, but if you ask me to translate that in Lingala, I don't even know none of these things that I learned from the chemistry list in Lingala. Why? Because I've never even seen a dictionary in Lingala. I would love to see one. If somebody can come up with one, that's what I would love to read all day, every day. You know what I'm saying? When I was in primary school, I remember we had a lecture in Lingala under Mobutu, or probably well, under Mobutu. I was, probably my not in school, quite not in school. Probably right after you know, the war when Kabila father took power. That's when I started going to school. Yeah, that's probably around the time that I started going to school. You know what I'm saying? And we had those lecture that was taught in Lingala, and I used to love that. You know what I'm saying? But then I don't know what happened. Maybe I need to do a lot more research on that, and that's out the window. They don't teach that anymore. But I'll be so damned to see another Congolese feller actually depriving their own children from their native language. That is selfish, it is ignorant, and you should be ashamed of yourself. If you're watching this video, you ain't in that position, I don't care. You can unsubscribe if you want to. Shame on you. You should be teaching your kids how to speak the native language, especially those that are born in outside of the Congo, that are born in the West. You see what Rwanda are doing to us? They're sending the children to study in Congos. A lot of them graduate from the university. Rwanda, not only knowing how to speak Lingala and our languages, that's why it's so easy for them to infiltrate our government, because they speak our native language. I'll tell you one quick story. A good friend of mine in Kinshasa, I still talk with him. This is like one of the people that I always hang out with when I go to the Congo. He works for the Rwandan embassy from the Congo. He drives the ambassador, right? So he frequent people from the Rwanda embassy a lot. I'm telling you, you walk into that office, everybody is speaking French, is speaking Lingala fluently. And none of these motherfuckers, excuse my French, none of these motherfuckers is Congolese. I don't care if YouTube demonetized this channel. I don't give a crap about that. But sometimes when I'm talking about this kind of thing, it just gets me so pissed off. They speak Lingala fluently. And yeah, they still Rwandan. They still operating under the Rwandan government within the Congo. They speak Lingala fluently. You have strangers that are willing to learn how to speak our languages because of the opportunities and the money that we have in our country that benefit them. They want to learn how to speak Lingala, right? And they plundering our natural resources. But you were born Congolese? Just because you got the chance to get that little visa to go to America, and you don't want your kids to learn how to speak Lingala? Why? Because it's what? Diminishing? It's shameful that your kids are speaking Lingala in the public? Dude, are you kidding me? Oh my God, sometimes like when certain things, it just makes my head spin. I do not understand other people. Like, understand my emotions here. I do not understand some people. This is so ridiculous. How can you explain this? I'm trying to understand, like, this is unexplainable. It's beyond imaginable. Now, how can you possibly be okay your kids learning a foreign language over your own language? I've never seen in America before, like, a lot of Americans don't even speak, two languages. And like a handful of them can speak 2 or 3 languages, but I guarantee you, come to America, they do not understand other words than English. You know why? They take pride in their own language and all that good stuff. Look, I have friends here, right, in the United States. They Congolese, right? They travel to, a Turkish, to Istanbul. They got their little business going and everything like that. They go to the clothing store. They go to a clothing store in Turkey. They got Turks. They got Turks able to speak Lingala. They have never been in Congo. You know why? Because in their markets, in that like clothing markets, there are so many Congolese flying from Congo to Turkey to buy clothes, and they see like the market's growing and the business model is kind of like growing that relationship. They want to be able to have as many Congolese clientele as possible. And guess what they do? Learning how to speak the language is the best way to convince them to purchase on our, from our stores. If we can easily communicate with them, that's the best way to gain them. I had my friends telling me a story. They're in Istanbul. They go into a place. They got into places like you're talking to some of these Turks that understand Lingala, that speak Lingala. So you have other countries that are interested in speaking our native language, but then you were born Congolese with all the privilege that she have, but you just want to throw it out the window, give it away because what? English or French sounds much better in your ears. And I'll tell you what, a lot of these I have to really watch my mouth because I'm getting very aggravated here because I'll be dropping F-bomb every single time I'm talking about this because I don't really curse like that, but talking about this topic is just for some reason it's just pissing me off. You know what I'm saying? Gosh, some people are. Let me grab the comments real quick because I saw people commenting while I was going live. I'm not even sure how to pull up these comments, guys. Please bear with me here. I'm still learning how to, let me see. It's the inferiority complex most Congolese people have. My parents stopped talking to me in our mother language. Let me pull that back up again. My mother language and wanted me to speak better English. That's so sad. Cabena, I am so sorry that that happened to you. That shouldn't have happened, and I'm pretty sure you understand better and maybe help your parents understand the value of speaking your native language because that's the only country that we will retreat to. So like if for some reason things start going south here in America, the only place I would rather want to be is the Congo. That's the reason why whenever I want to travel outside the United States, even if it doesn't have anything to do with investing or building whatever I got going on in the Congo, the very first place on my mind is Kinshasa. Congo is like my only final place of destination. I do not want to be anywhere else if I didn't have to. You know what I'm saying? Like being here in America, like I've mentioned this in my videos, like I've never worked for anybody in the Congo. Like I was a straight full-time student living with my parents. The moment I got my visa to move to America, I left my parents and came to America on my own. And I lived my life. I struggled, I battled like every man's supposed to do. And here I am. I did what I had to do. I stood up for myself. I'm saying I'm here. But that love in my heart for the Congo, I will die with it. No matter what you do, I'll die with it. I want to tell you another funny story. I almost went live. Somebody popped up on my comment section. One of the videos that I released about a couple of weeks ago. Somebody talking about how Rwandan are invading our country. So in my video, just like, oh, according to her, she said like there were a lot of Rwandan on my videos. I said, well, can you mention one? It's like yourself. I said, all right, that's so interesting. So I had to send her links to my videos where I was dishing the crap out of Rwanda and all this Rwandan and the crazy stuff they be doing in the Congo. Ever since, she never said anything. You see, in the fights for our freedom, the fights to promote our country, we should not let anybody distract us. Like, we much better than that. You know what I'm saying? Like, the only reason I make these videos in English because I chose to have this video done in English. I decided that I wanted to have an audience that can not only we could communicate, because I wanted to diversify this channel to where you don't necessarily have to be Congolese to be a member, or I mean to be a subscriber to my channel, so we can share ideas. Because I understand there are a lot of Congolese that are born in the diaspora, grew up there, they don't even speak the native language. Some of them are trying to learn, but this can also bring us together. I mean, some people having doubts for one reason or another. Just because I'm making these YouTube videos in English doesn't make me less of a Congolese. Naloba lingala 100% bien ande mo saranate. Ya mo boepe to kimino anglais to na lingala pour batum suba comprendre que ou eza place au saba aventure te. Donc j'ai cette possibilité là au sa la chaîne mo no le belanga pe malingala mais eko zala et quoi atteindre vraiment popularité à ma casse, c'était parce que dans besoin de battre belé, ba landa vidéo, yana ba ya ba congolais belé, ba zana ba côté msous. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I just wanted to say that so you can understand that English is not the only language that I speak. I don't even want to speak French because number one, I don't even like to speak French. You know what I'm saying? Like I love my Lingala more than anything. But that's the message that I came out for you guys. Like, listen, whatever you do or whatever you're trying to do, you always should be taking pride of your culture, your language, value everything about your country. That's why I create your identity. A lot, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of Western countries, they understand the value of exporting their language. Looking outside of their country, it facilitate the business model, the transactions and all that certain deals. It's very important. But like I said, Rwanda is one of the evil country in our border to infiltrate our government, to take advantage of our opportunities that Congolese should be taking advantage of. It's one of the countries that understand the true value of being Congolese. That's why they're doing to us what they have been doing to us for decades now. But we are born Congolese, and we want to be ashamed of our own language and culture to where we don't even want our kids to learn how to speak our native language. So if wherever you are, I don't care who you are, how much money you make, if that's the same mindset that you have, and you don't want your kids learning how to speak Lingala, even if they're born in the West, shame on you. Even to make the matter worse, there are some Congolese who live in Kinshasa. Their kids who are born and growing up in Kinshasa, they do not want their kids to speak Lingala. I'm like, and you taking pride in this? And somebody will tell you, oh, my children don't speak Lingala. So what? Who gives a shit? So you think it's better for them to speak French or English or any other language, and that will make them look cool, smarter? I went to school with people that would speak French as if like they literally were born in France. They were born in France, grew up there, but they only live in Kinshasa. But I'm telling you, you have 3, 4 sentences, have them write it in French. Oh my God, that's like World War III. A lot of them can spell for nothing. Like in college, I've sat right next to people who I admire how they communicated in French. But then when I looked at their notes, I'm like, oh my God, I don't even speak this much French, but my spelling is not this horrible. Being able to speak a foreign language doesn't make you any smarter. So like me, living in America, I only had to learn how to speak English because, hey, I wanted to go to college. I wanted to go back to college. I wanted to be able to do things on my own without asking for help all the time. I wanted to be independent. Independence, when we, talking about integrating a country, it comes with the language. When you can fluently communicate with people, you got your own things you got to handle, business-wise to take care of. You don't need somebody's help to be there with you, to assist you. That's true independence, because if you have to always call somebody over the phone and drive a couple miles to come pick you up, to take you to a bank or to do something because you can't speak a language, that's really not going to help you. And guess how much, employment opportunity you'll be missing out on by the facts that you don't even speak the language. Like we deal with that a lot, where people coming from Congo straight here to America, when they're looking for a job, like there are so many jobs they can get. Like they have limits. There's certain jobs you can't have it unless you can fluently communicate, in the language. They'll give you certain tasks and responsibility, and they want you to have conversation with people dropping off the loads, or depending on what type of business you're gonna be in. Like a lot of these people, they don't even care if you speak the language, only if you're working like in these factories, like these production plants. Sometimes they don't even care about the language. That's why you got all these Hispanics working in these many manufacturing, businesses and stuff like that, because you don't even need to learn how to speak a language. All they give you instruction to get somebody to train you. Be like, hey, all you're gonna be doing all day, pick this here, put it over there. Pick this here, put it over there. You don't even need to speak the language to be able to do this kind of job like that. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes down to, people like us, French is not spoken here. I don't speak Spanish. I do not have a manager that speaks Spanish that will help me out. Like the only alternative that I had is to learn how to speak the language. That's why I did the best I could with all the ambitions that I had, right? I was very ambitious because I was like, look, I do not want to stick around this production company here because it's killing my body. I want to be able to speak English as quickly as possible so I can go back to college, learn how to speak English, and find a better job, better my education, and strengthen my resume so when I apply for a job, I have a decent job with a decent pay. Here I am a couple of years later. You know what I'm saying? It really takes time, but take pride in your native language, especially those that are born in the country. You born there, hey, nothing can go wrong with speaking Lingala or Kikongo. If I even knew how to speak my parents' dialect, which is Kiyombe, because my parents are from Congo Central, I think I mentioned that. I love how the language sounds. I want to be able to learn how to speak the language one day, you know what I mean? And eventually I would, because every time I talk with my mom, when I want to learn how to speak something in her dialect, which is Kiyombe, I'll ask my mom, I want to say this, how do I say it in Kiyombe? She'll be like, all right, this is how you say it. I'm like, all right, so next time I'll remember that. That's how you learn step by step. But when it comes down to Kikongo, Swahili, and Chiluba, I'm going to learn how to speak these languages too. Because I want to be able, when I go, because this is like, it's on my bucket list. I have plans that I would love to visit every single state in the Congo. I will visit every province I possibly can. And if let's just say that I find myself in Bujimai, I mean, and they speak Shiluba over there, I might not even run into certain people that can speak Lingala, right? But if I can speak Shiluba, do I need a translator? Probably not. If I'm in Likasi or Lubumbashi, I'm saying, some place where in Katanga province where like Swahili is predominantly spoken, I am going to need how to speak Swahili. But now I do not have those skills. Like speaking of Swahili, because knowing how to speak Swahili not only gives me access to a lot of these Eastern African country, because Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, all these other countries, they speak Swahili. So I will have access, even, the ability to communicate in Swahili even outside of the Congo. That's one advantage that Swahili has. And I want to learn how to speak the language. Is the same as Kikongo. We want to learn how to speak our native languages. Why are we so obsessed with everything white? Why is that? What has it done to us other than harm? What has it done to us other than add more stress, leading to more mental health issues within the Black community? What else good has everything white's done to us? Our struggle, they're the reason that we're struggling so much. Like our struggle literally came from their actions, the past actions, even the present actions. It's coming from them. Why would we want to praise them so much? Like, I do not understand this. So please make sure you get out of. All right, I'm having a little bit of the connection issue. All right, guys, I'm having some connection problem here. I'm not gonna hold you any longer. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate you, every single one of you. And let me think about this live. I want to bring more list before